Right, puppy? We're gonna get it? Alright, intake is on, everything's plugged in, it looks good. Alright guys, I know you guys wanted a break from me being in Pennsylvania, so we are back down here in North Carolina. This is one of 3 trucks we're going to be fixing down here. This truck, one, I think it needs a retune, but shop took it apart. They gave him a quote. They charged him way more than what the initial quote should have been, from what I understand. And so they just towed the thing out. All these nuts are either missing or like they threw everything in the back. So you can see like half of them are missing. So we do need a new one of these. This is the air filter that was on it. We have an intake horn up there. And well, here's where we're at. We're gonna hear this thing fire up in this video. Just need to get it running. We did bring the dog. The dog always comes with. She's down there. Don't worry, we don't drive away with her on the hitch. So what we gotta do is pretty much take all of this off. I'm gonna take the valve cover, set that aside. We're gonna pull this off, set that aside. We got to put this thing back together. So we got to get all this stuff cleaned out, put the injector lines back on. The fuel rail was definitely off at one point because that bolt's missing. Hopefully everything is in here. They left the oil cap off. They said they just charged him way more money than what they said they were going to initially charge. So half of these broken off. We're going to try to see if I can fix that and make those go back down in the injector lines. I am going to check all these, make sure that they are all torqued properly. It looks like the back one's on. I'm going to pull that one off just to make sure, and it looks like that nut right there has been removed as well. But like I was saying, this is just truck number 1. Once this one's done, we can get it off the trailer because I have to hook this gooseneck up to my truck to get this off. I did bring the cart. I did bring everything else. She's getting a little excited. I forgot to bring her long leash. I'm gonna have to remove 5th wheel to back down onto that so we can get that off without this thing going like that, especially because this only has 1 axle right now. We're gonna do a parts itemization with the cart and get this truck running, and then once it's all back together, we're gonna do a retune because from what I understand, the thing is kind of running like dog shit and there's some problems. We also have another truck with a fuel issue we got to take care of. So this is just one of those. Made a 7-hour drive last night to get down here. It's about 3 in the afternoon. So let's get it. Right, pup? As you guys can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we're missing 2 of those. We're missing one of the screws there. I don't know if it's on the truck, but we are missing one of the little washers there. We have this guy here, which I know exactly where that one goes. And then we have 5 lines, and I think we are definitely missing stuff. So, fuel line, we have the cover for the air filter, and then this air filter, I'm going to recommend a replacement. We're going to throw it on for now, but I am going to recommend replacing that. You can see there's stuff in there. This thing was just sitting there just like that. So we'll clean that out. Definitely missing some nuts, and that's unfortunate. We'll keep looking, but let's start throwing stuff in. I know exactly where this bolt goes, so I'm going to go start grabbing sockets and the tools that I think I'm going to need, wrenches, all that stuff. And we will go from there. We're throwing this thing back together now. I got the number 6 injector line off. I'm looking down here. Look at that. That's fucked up. Somebody put that starter on, cracked it. Thing's all sorts of crooked. That number 6 injector line was super tight. I want to get a torque wrench back there and check it. Make sure that those 2 are good, but I got to get this line out of the way on number 6 so that I can get to number 5. All right, so fun fact, I'm glad I took the number 6 injector line off. Number 5, all of the front ones were good. I used the torque wrench and went over it with a 24 millimeter, and number 6 was so incredibly loose that, I mean, there was definitely a problem with number 6. So if we throw this whole thing back together and there is an issue somewhere, 6 is what we're going to be looking at. But it looks like somebody went and parts canned this thing. We got a new billet actuator down there. Looks like we got some new parts down here. That CP3 looks damn new. This looks new. That was replaced. Like, just judging by a lot of stuff down here. Make sure that nothing went in that boost tube. But it looks like a lot of things have been thrown into this thing. You can see the injectors. Like, they all look pretty new. These connector tubes, like, all this stuff looks new. So that's kind of a concern to me. Also, we definitely want to come in here and wiggle this. And you can see, yeah. So I'm gonna get all the injector lines back on now, do all that. So that was taken care of. So now we're just gonna put all 6 lines back on. This is a pretty easy task. Getting them on is a lot easier than getting them off. They just kind of screw into place. Get both ends threaded in loosely for reasons like that. Get both ends threaded in loosely before actually tightening it, and I am tightening it. That I meant to go loose. Doing this one-handed is awesome. And then we'll come in here and do one at a time. Looks like somebody has removed the tow hook off of this engine. I don't know, for weight reduction or what, but it is removed. Injector lines are next, and then we'll get that guy. I did find the O-ring. It was sitting down there. So gonna go through, make sure all of this stuff is tight. So all of the fuel lines are on now and everything's all tightened down. We need an intake gasket. I wanna get that surface cleaned up, sprayed out, whatnot. We gotta get this thing back into place. The shop really bent the hell out of that. They didn't tell me who did it, but I just know it's kind of a shit show. All right, so we got everything back on. Now, keep in mind, we only have 7 of the 8 nuts, but even if we found the other 2, I personally recommended replacing this because you guys can see all the wiring, like it's open and cut and it's just getting old. So eventually what happens is the oil gets into the wiring and eventually it'll go through and come out here because it's bypassing the seal by going into the wire, getting past the insulation. So at this point I said, let's just replace it. So he has a used one. So we're gonna go pull the valve cover off the other truck, that's a parts truck, and take it. Mind you, I recommend getting a new one. I can only do what I am paid to do. So someone in the comments will bitch, why didn't you make him get a new one? Because he doesn't want to, okay? There you go. It's literally that simple. So we tried the other valve cover gasket. Unfortunately, the connector was melted to the harness. So we could not use it. So he's going to AutoZone to grab another one now. And then we are going to throw a new valve cover gasket in it. And then we'll throw it together and then it should start. I did show him the video with the starter and everything, so we'll see what decisions made on that. So in theory, we should be able to start this thing now. Did find the exhaust leak. It's down there. And between that and the starter, everything is tight. So that clip doesn't go anywhere. We got this guy back on. That's tight. Other than that, top valve cover piece is on. We replaced both gaskets. Is a new harness. So everything is tight. More information, apparently every one of those injector lines were loose initially, and then that 6th one they just never tightened on top of after fixing the first 5 and then leaving the truck there. So yeah, now we'll get this thing started. I also did loosen every one of the battery terminals, pounded them down. So we'll see if she starts. And we have fire up. Fucker sounds gnarly. Oh. CP3 feed line right there was loose. Now we fire it up again. No leaks now. All good. So we got it running. She runs pretty good. We're gonna be backing this off. I gotta go get my fifth wheel off. Everything should be good here. Just gotta push this out of the way, and then we'll back it down. I'll let him go drive it and see if it acts good. If it does, he's got a good fleet truck. Like I said, I think we had 3 to fix initially. Now we got 4. Well, this one will bring it back down to 3. There's plenty more to do while we're down here. So I'm just gonna take the top off, because taking the pins out and shit is just an absolute pain in the ass, and ultimately just not worth it. I might replace these with pins down the road, but we'll see. All right, it's off. It's up there. Let's back up to it. Just wanted to be a smart ass and show you all this, but before you pull something off the trailer, always put it in 4 low. So definitely gonna need a reflash because the throttle body's coming up, but she sounds good. Any leaks? Other than the residual. So he's gonna drive it quick. Is he coming back around this way, or? Oh yeah, he gone. Yeah, that thing sounds nice. She was getting a little bored in the truck, so I brought her outside, but I'm gonna put her back in here in a minute. I know you guys hear that. Hopefully the mic picks it up. I don't know if it's just a gauge or what. See if it goes up at all. Oh yeah. Definitely not building boost. There's the exhaust brake. Could just be a sensor. Oh, you know what? Hold on a sec. All right, let's see what happens now. There we go. 25 pounds. Yeah, it definitely has an aggressive tune in it.
And I'm not doing, I didn't get to 50 that quick. It said it was off.
Yeah. All right. Looking at some of these cars in here, kind of trying to kill time. I know this has nothing to do with the video, but we're down here, we're waiting for the other guys to show up. We found a couple JDM cars while we're down here. If anybody wants the Fast and the Furious car, they want 43 for it. I'm not sure if it's boosted or not. I don't know what the stipulations are on that. I'd be curious to see. But, oh, and it's automatic, so yeah, never mind. Dude, it's got an oil pressure gauge and a volt gauge. And usually they have a boost gauge on the dash, so yeah, this one's probably not turboed. I don't know why you would. You got a couple of GTRs here. That one's manual. Please look but do not touch. See an employee. They want 32 for this one. This one's a manual. What do they want for this one? 38. There's some cool cars in here. We're just looking. We ain't got the money to buy, but you know, maybe we do. Maybe we buy some. I'm gonna try not to drop my phone here, but 19 stroker 557. I'd be lying if I told you guys I knew anything about it, but I do like the older F-150s. Oh yeah. There's a lot of oil on the ground. So I missed him doing it earlier. We're gonna see if he does a skid. He said he wished I was filming, but I was not filming. So I'm gonna see if he does anything crazy this time. Got it. Alright. Got the puppy out. He forgot the key. So I am, in the meantime, we have a bunch of trucks coming up here, and it's like, gotta finish all that. But she gotta go poopy. But yeah, today has been an interesting endeavor. We're supposed to start around 2 p.m. But this thing, we're figuring that out. Also, the guy put injectors in it. I found out that maybe he didn't program each injector to the cylinder that it's supposed to be in. So that could be throwing some things off. Going through and checking it out. We just, obviously we want to change the tune first, because this tune has been causing problems, and it's just not a good tune. So we're going to fix the obvious first, get a proper tune in it, and then drive it around, see where it's at. I probably already said that before, but he just bought this thing from one of his owner ops. She just loves to get under your feet. But it sounds good. It just, it's definitely got some bald tires too. But it just, yeah, it runs like, it sounds like it runs good, but it's clacking because of all the rail pressure. So while we're sitting waiting for him to bring the tune, I did bring this with me we're gonna try it. Now usually, like I said, I'm not a cold air intake guy. I want to clean this filter. You know, they're cool and all, they make cool noises, but the stock intake is pretty good. But what set this unit apart on the 5.9, in my opinion, is the fact that it has a hole here that actually bolts this to the case, and it's all solid, whereas on like a typical cold air intake, you just have this and it just throws itself there and it just sits wherever it wants. So I kind of like that. This has a mounting point. You can see this will go into the rad and hold on right there, and then there's 2 holes in the bottom. This one we're just using as, you can see that'll just sit like that, and then this one actually has a nut and a bolt, and then this bolt. So like, it actually physically belongs there. So AFE, you guys did a pretty good job on this. I might try to source and figure out what filter I want to run, because this filter I'm going to run as a temporary, but I really like my paper filters. It does have the 6.7 sensors, but the 5.9 sensor, this is the same thing, so not a problem there. And then we have this hole here we need to fill in. So this goes up into the intake, which obviously we're going to delete that, throw like a big bolt in there somehow. We just need to close and plug this off. That's about it. But this thing should realistically take like 20 minutes to install. So I'm going to give it a little bit, see where we're at for the day with that and then the other trucks. But it's like, I'll probably give you guys like a before and after, or actually probably just an after, because you guys know what a factory intake acts like. I don't expect any performance gains. It's just one of those, like, I don't know, it's a noise thing in my opinion. The factory intake is more than enough for a truck with a level 1 tune and some 50 overs. Alright, so I just switched over the sensor. And we're going to use this one. So I got this one pulled off. These should not be the same, but it bolts in no different. And then this one will just be used as a blocker. And then figure something out with that hole there, because like, can't have that. Alright, so on this specific unit, what you want to do, take out that bolt there, put it back in. We're going to leave it loose, so that way I can figure out what position it needs to be in, and we can flip it any which way we need to. So I'm just going to get it tight enough that I can still move it around, and then once everything's mounted, we'll tighten it up for good. Alright, so unfortunately I forgot that this one tab was broken, so I'm just going to put this bolt down there and tighten it up so I don't lose it. But when I get back home, I will replace this battery tray. I have one in stock. I might as well just do it, because then I'll have 2. This one is just basically a dowel pin. You don't put a nut on the bottom of that one. But this should also get this a lot clearer, because one of the issues I was having was this thing is starting to rub against my factory intake. All right, intake is on, everything's plugged in. It looks good. Like I said, we'll do the battery tray when I get back. We're gonna go make a 2-hour round trip real quick. Go look at another truck. Oh, my bad doggy. I'm gonna put her back here. She has been crazy. I'm trying to get her leash off. Hold on, puppy. She'd be jumping out of this driver's seat before I can even catch her, so I gotta be careful.